For our Chicago trip, we got up early and got out on the road at about 4:30 a.m.
Every light is green.
There wasn't much traffic at the time. It's always kind of strange to see your neighborhood in that odd time of night, like when you used to go to your school at nighttime for a bingo night or something. The empty morning highways always remind me of going on vacation as a kid. After some fanfare, we found the hotel where we had booked parking and boarded a tiny elevator. Then it's a shuttle to LAX. Maybe it's just my luck, but I always feel like if a shuttle runs every 15 minutes, then I'm gonna be waiting on it for 20 to 25 minutes. But soon we're at LAX with enough time to spare to check out some flight attendant uniforms over the years. Soon, it was wheels up in gloomy, chilly Los Angeles and wheels down in sunny Chicago, basking in a full summer glow. After making our way through ORD, we took a tram over to the rental car garage where we found the Nissan Sentra of our dreams.
And only a few miles away from the airport, we already spot a familiar friend. Portillo's, baby. This well-oiled machine is always cranking out all the Chicago staples. A few years back, they even made a spicy chicken sandwich.
Almost drove to Anaheim to try this chicken sandwich. Would have been like 3 hours total in the car, but I'm trying it now. This location was takeout only, so we had to chow down on the trunk of our rental car. Then it was on to the open road to head to Champaign-Urbana. Illinois is really pretty, but if you've seen 1 mile on the interstate, you've seen them all. But we stopped because I'd forgotten my sunglasses and stumbled onto some Shaquille O'Neal branded sour candies.
It's Shakalicious.
Champaign-Urbana is sort of a miniature Twin Cities. It's a very quiet, cool little college town. We rolled up to our old friends Emma and Eddie's very vibey apartment and sat in their beautiful sunroom with their dog Keely. They showed us some of the town. Parts of it had old cobblestone streets.
It's novelty. It's definitely. Biking on them is definitely.
I was about to say.
Biking on them is the worst.
We really only come down here in the summers or like passing through.
Yeah, because like during the school year, this will all just be packed with like pedestrian traffic and students walking to class. And
it's a little older than our house.
And it has like 50 different kinds of trees that are planted. So there's like a little tree walk that you can do. And that rock says that this neighborhood was voted one of the best in America.
Wow.
We ended up at Riggs Beer Company where we got some pizza from Flower and Fire Company.
Cheers.
A Supreme, a jalapeno popper pie, and a hot ricotta.
Like this?
Yes. Oh, go for it. Okay, I'm doing a switch up.
Tried to get a shot of the astounding number of fireflies out here, but they really didn't turn out on camera. So here's a reenactment I created using big budget Hollywood special effects. Day 2 of our journey, we spent the morning in Emma and Eddie's very peaceful and cozy apartment. Tranquil would be a word I might use. You can sit in the sunroom and look out the windows at the quiet town outside. 10/10. Would recommend. We played with Keely a bit with his favorite toy. Keely is a very cat-like dog. Then we went over to Emma and Eddie's new house. We got to see a little tour of what all they've done so far and what all there is still to do.
A big rug. Bearskin.
This whole thing used to be white.
And it had like these like accordion doors that we took down.
They also have a beautiful and vibrant backyard. Then it was off to walk the neighborhood. The neighborhood is beautiful and exploding with green, and only a few short blocks away from the downtown area. And then it was time for a bit of antiquing. Sarah bought that orange parasol there. Then we headed over to a perhaps dying but not dead yet mall. Sort of a ghost mall. Hauntingly empty, but with some soul left in it in the form of indie shops and record stores. Then we went out to check out an escape room. Here I am posing with a statue of a knight. I like to get around, what can I say? We managed to defeat the wizard in the very last minutes. The guy said we were working through the room very fast at first, but we got kinda hung up for a while.
That was good.
Then, Em and Eddie whipped up some chicken tostadas with all the fixins, a recipe from Rick Martinez, and it was an evening of cold beer and fun games.
I was gonna say Jack, to be honest, size, but it feels like it's
That would be
still
The next morning, we grabbed breakfast at a classic diner. And we're back on the road to drive from Champaign-Urbana to Palatine. To drive from Champaign-Urbana to Palatine, the GPS suggests the old state highways instead of the interstate. Makes for a much more interesting drive. Midwest Septic, we have the best shit. We landed in beautiful Palatine, home of Rudy and
This
Jen.
house is where
First, we walked to our second diner of the day, and I had my second spicy chicken sandwich of the trip. Rudy is a master home bartender, and he has an impressive collection of spirits, bitters, liqueurs, etc. He also has an impressive set of tiki glasses. He even had a couple of menus to help us pick some drinks for him to make. Sarah and I both chose Rude Dog's Banana Daiquiri, which meant we actually had to go out and buy some bananas. But with bananas in hand, Rudy turned them into incredible dolphin garnishes and incredible drinks, based on a drink they used to serve at the now defunct Lost Lake. For round 2, chartreuse was the order of the day. And he made us chartreuse swizzles using a real swizzle stick and a lot of elbow grease. Delightful. Later on, we walked Palatine and stopped at one of teenage Rudy's hangouts, Napoli Pizza.
The little guy from the pizza box, the generic pizza box where it's
Oh yeah.
thanks.
We got some slices and walked to a place called Twin Lakes where we sat and chowed down. We even saw a squirrel grabbing some food out of a nearby trash can.
Oh, hilarious.
The next day we explored more of Palatine by car and saw a lot more of Rudy's old stomping grounds.
See the window on the side, and I think you can get
Yeah.
or I get lighthouse, I guess. I think that used to be. It used to be a Ben and Jerry's.
That's
And
wonderful.
that ATI used to be a Blockbuster.
Oh wow.
Rest in peace.
You gotta know what was.
We stopped for lunch at a nice pub called Brant's, a house used in the Prohibition era that was once picked up and moved here from a nearby town. Then we saw some of Jen's side of Palatine.
Have the fishing derby, but there are like teeny tiny fish in there, so it looks like, what are we doing? We babysat for people in this house. This is a,
They still live there?
yep,
Wow.
they're in there. See them?
Then it was back to O'Hare to return the rental car and a cab ride down Lawrence Avenue to Andersonville, home of Ryan Plunkett and Olivia. We lived in Andersonville the bulk of our time in Chicago, and we love it. We love this neighborhood. It's full of great restaurants and fun shops, like this favorite of Sarah's, Four-Sided. Founded by Swedish immigrants, Andersonville is a cool, funky, queer-friendly spot on Chicago's north side. And it's got this great comic shop, Alley Cat Comics, that's tucked behind an alley. Then we stopped at Lonesome Rose for some awesome tacos. This place used to be a nice oyster bar. Here's Sarah and I in this same space almost 10 years earlier. Our favorite secondhand store, the Brown Elephant, is this great big theater space. You can find all kinds of rare treasures in here.
Wow.
Then it was up to the north end of Andersonville, to the apartment we lived in when we got married. I used to wait on the bus right here. This building right here is where Hillary Clinton was born. It was just an abandoned hospital the whole time we lived there. I used to look up at this rooftop pool. You could see this greenhouse style rooftop. Would have been like right here. Looks like maybe they restored the pool when they built these condos. That would have been our 3 windows right there. We could see this billboard from our apartment. For years, it was just a picture of Mike Ditka staring right at us. I always hated this mural, and I'm sad to see it still there. Plus, this "You Are Beautiful" thing just feels very impersonal and kind of condescending in a way. Then, it was back to Ryan's, and he made us some elderflower paper
So you
planes.
definitely have 1,043 pieces.
We ended the night by splitting a piece of trout at Little Bad Wolf. This place is known for their burger, but this trout was exceptional.
Oh, wait, hey, call mom, it's their anniversary. Ooh, a scam text.
Happy
Hey.
anniversary!
Hey.
Happy anniversary!
Oh yeah. Well, that's this weekend, but
Oh, when is it?
the 22nd.
Oh, I thought it was the 18th.
Well, it's a good thing I remember at least, right?
She called Dad. She goes, let's call Dad. And I go, okay. And she goes, happy anniversary. He goes, okay, but that's in 4 days.
That's sweet. What are you doing?
We're all just hanging out, drinking coffee. They're gonna go get more coffee. Yeah, that's
I
fine.
heard you're gonna get thunderstorms today.
Then we walked back up our beloved Andersonville, home of weird things like a little library just for art pieces. It was empty when we saw it though. We popped into this half bookstore, half coffee shop, and Sarah caught up with her old friend Margaret. Then to Devon Hardware to make a copy of Ryan's Keys. Then we tried Mignoli in Andersonville. This fried chicken with sour plum powder was great. This cold appetizer with some kind of frosty substance on top was, I think, very traditional, but not our cup of tea. Then to one of my all-time favorite record stores, Bric-a-Brac. There's all kinds of weird stuff in there and plenty of crates to crawl through. Plus, they have a Simpsons arcade game that's free to play. Then we had to stop by apartment 405 from Chicago. Strictly as a building, this was probably my favorite one, and living half underground felt very cool and cozy to me. Plus, it was right next to this great bottle shop where they sell all kinds of beer. It's hard to get a good selection of beer in Los Angeles. They don't drink as much beer in California as they do in the Great Lakes region. And then Ryan took us up to the roof of his building. It's only 4 stories up, but you see such a great angle on the canopy of Chicago. Looks like it's still raining downtown. There's the Andersonville water tower. Then I went on a little walk by myself. I spent so much time in this neighborhood, it felt really good to be back. All the sights, the smells, the sounds are so familiar. The sidewalks just a few feet off of Clark Street feel so peaceful. That's the first apartment we landed in. This is the back door. I once ate shit slipping on ice back here. Living in LA for a few years, you forget the quiet stillness of a rainy day. I always loved how close they build to the train tracks, like the city is an organism that's growing around them. Always loved this green building, but we lived in the yellow one here. That pink one back there was used as the exteriors for that movie Bound, the Wachowskis' first movie. This is the alley where we loaded into this apartment, 300 square foot studio. I used to buy expired food at this grocery store here, and this Francesca's is supposed to be good, but we never felt like we could afford it when we lived here. I think this would have been our unit here. I was very excited about the view when I first saw it. A good peek at the canopy. Here's a shot with Sarah in it that's both overexposed and underexposed at the same time. The walk from apartment 2 to apartment 3 is a short one. We use the same red line stop. I used to walk this path from the train all the time. One time late at night, I was pretty sure this guy was waiting for the right moment to mug me, just whenever there were no cars around to witness it. And it was icy out, so I couldn't just start running. And then a drunk guy right over here across the street just screamed, "You guys aren't fooling anyone. We can tell you're all together," which made me think, okay, he thought it looked like we were doing this thing where 2 guys walk about 15 feet apart, and as soon as someone gets in the middle, we both head over and jump them. So clearly it looked like maybe I was in trouble, but there was never a moment with no cars around where it would have been totally safe for him to mug me. And I walked all the way to Clark Street. Somewhere in the last block there, he gave up.
Oh, man.
Used to be a picture of Betty Boop right over here that I used to look at. Oh no, it's still here. She's still got it. I once took this walk from the train during the polar vortex. It was -60 with the wind chill. I had 2 bags of groceries under my hands, and I was thinking, well, it's a pretty short walk. I don't need to put my gloves on. But then the walk just seemed to take forever. It felt like I kept taking steps forward, but I was never getting any closer.
By the time I finally got home, my hands were in so much pain, I could barely unlock my door. I think I had pre-frostbite, not quite hospitalization frostbite, but pre-frostbite symptoms. So then I just dropped my keys on the couch. I couldn't put them back in my pocket. And then the next morning, I left and locked myself out of the apartment. And Sarah was out of town. I had to take a metro train down to Homer,
Glen so my landlord could give me an extra set of keys. So here is our back door at the Andersonville apartment. And this is the oldest brick wall in Andersonville. People used to tie their horses up here back in the day. We'd take our trash out here, and I once heard a sermon coming from this Pentecostal church saying, I'm a-talking to the homosexual, and I'm a-talking to the lesbian, and I'm a-talking to the drug addict, and I'm talking to the man walking alone through the alley. And I was like, whoa, is he talking to me? I'm a man walking alone through the alley. I ended up going inside the restaurant we used to live above. At the time, it was a pork shop. We used to watch Thunder games at this bar right here. Now it's a Parson's Chicken and Fish. I always loved the cocktail menu here. Pickle Ritas and frozen Negronis, beer cocktails like the Spaghetti, a low-rent version of the Aperol Spritz named after the Tim Heidecker character. Then to the music box to see Pavements with Ed Marks after a next-level dinner at Bodega Sur. I give Pavements 4 out of 5 stars. And that's where the sausage is made.
Literally where it's made.
So then we returned to one of our old hangouts, Wicker Park. This is a neighborhood where we spent a lot of time in our 20s, hanging out at places like Demo's Pizza. Glad to see a bunch of ghetto art on the wall. It's this guy in the neighborhood that would walk around at night selling these crayon drawings he called ghetto art. They have a bunch of weird flavors of pizza, like chicken and waffle pizza. They once had a gyro pizza that's one of the best slices I ever had. I went with a vegetarian pasta bowl pizza. Sarah got the elote pizza. Then off to one of the coolest stores in the world, Quimby's. It's this place with just hundreds of homemade comics and zines. Quimby's allows anyone to just register and sell their periodicals for real money. It's so incredible that a store like this even exists. This is where they filmed the Record Store in High Fidelity. Obligatory Chicago train shot. I always loved how Chicago would have like these vintage shops and DIY art galleries just upstairs in apartment spaces. And places like Myopic Books with these basements full of dusty old books. Always a good sign when there's mild evidence of flooding in the bookstore you're in. Lottie's, I spent many a Tuesday night there. Then we headed over to another favorite neighborhood, Lakeview. I used to walk through here every day on the way to work. There's my old office back there. In Lakeview, or maybe it's Lincoln Square, we went to one of the most iconic Chicago hot dog joints, Weiner Circle.
Why you killing me, you fucking pervert?
And then Sarah got one of those ice creams in a cone that looks like a fish. Hey, here's Lottie's again in one of these Chicago-centric gift shops. They really love Chicago in Chicago. Then we wound up at Parson's again in the building where we used to live. You just can't keep me away from this place. We were looking for a place we could watch the Thunder game, but it gave me the chance to have another spicy chicken sando. To see the rest of the game, we ended up at Lobo, which used to be a 7-Eleven where I bought many a morning donut. Then we got back and enjoyed some of Ryan's smoked old fashions.
I corrected myself.
That is what he said.
Thunder game was kind of a bloodbath, by the way. That's okay. Thunder still took the series.
Ooh. Thank you, sir.
I got it.
We used to do this from across the living room from each other. Like if you...
No, I can't eat more sugar.
No.
Oh, okay. Hey!
On day 7, we drove south to the Lincoln Park Zoo, a totally free attraction in the heart of Chicago's north side. That's the Hancock Tower, now called 875 North Michigan Avenue, where I proposed to Sarah. It's supposed to have the best view of Chicago, but it was a really foggy night when we went there, and all you could see was gray.
And those people were hogging the map.
Then we headed back up Lakeshore Drive, and then south through Wrigleyville on a game day.
This area has changed a lot since we moved to town, but still cool seeing all this fanfare of a baseball game right in the middle of a major metro area. Then we were on a bus that would have taken us close to our dinner reservation, but we decided to hop off and take the train part of the way, because why not? But then the train was super delayed. We ended up going back upstairs to catch another bus. Then we were out in downtown Chicago. First time we'd really seen it on this trip. It's beautiful. It's kind of the lower canopy of this jungle. We met Rudy and Jen once again, and Jen presented us with a homemade felted animal. We had asked her all about the hobby just a few days prior.
I don't know if you've seen Big Mouth. It looks remarkably like Kristen Wiig.
Then we had a waiter that said he served Eric Wareheim and is apparently written about in his upcoming book Steakhouse. We split a burger 4 ways as an appetizer, paired with a shrimp cocktail for a sort of surf and turf course. Then we went family style on a chopped wedge and a salmon Caesar. And then Sarah had the short rib stroganoff, I had the fried chicken. I think Rudy did one of the dry aged steaks and Jen did one of the fillets. Either way, we split up everything and feasted like kings. Then we did some bar hopping, but this is the only picture we took. And we rode in a cab with a driver that we think was explaining how he was a polygamist with 2 different wives, or perhaps it was a language barrier. I love how they fly these W flags after a Cubs win in the north side of Chicago. Here we're at a brunch place that used to be the Bongo Room, but now it's called Tala House. But it was Chicago Pride Festival, so it was time to get glammed up and head out to see Bev Rage and the Drinks. Kind of a different flavor of drag show was going on at the other end of the festival. We walked a few blocks home, but it was so hot we had to stop and cool off in a sports bar and watch the Cubs game that was being played about 100 yards away. Here I am melting out of my drag. Then to the Sweetheart Bar where I had this Malort highball. It was okay. Then next door to Lonesome Rose once again for some goodbye tacos. Then back to LAX once again, and we got to walk by that wall that's in the opening scene of Jackie Brown. Then back home to a very lonely cat and a frozen pizza for dinner. All in all, a pretty great trip.